So I feel very lucky to get the tree. Hi, I'm miltonchang of Bonsaiheirloom. Well, thank you for signing on. Please tell a friend. I think our audience is growing, and I think people are telling me that it's a very informative, trusted site for bonsai information. So please tell a friend and click like if you like what I said and useful. I can use the encouragement, and subscribe to our channel. And I think what's more important is please send us your email, because we will be soon selling trees in about a month or two, announcements for you to order trees from. So I don't want you to miss the chance. I think our production is limited, and so first come, first serve. I hope you get a tree from us. Let me jump right into the question. The first one is that tell me which one, he thanked me for the information about hackberry, which I did last week, and then about what's most valuable trees to me and meaningful trees to me. Well, thinking back, the tree I like the most is one actually I probably kept the longest. It's the Cascade that I made out of a prostrata juniper out of a 30, I think it's a 36-inch box, fairly thick, and it's long stretching out. I like it very much because I had that for 45, 50 years, and that's always valuable to me. The other one I really like is the two elm on the rock, and because that is an expression, the impression I had of the Huangshan, the UNESCO World Heritage Site, and I used the elm to simulate the pine trees that grow out of the rock. I like that one a lot, and because it's got very tiny leaf. Catlin elm. My granddaughter, Kayla, who is going to become a medical doctor, liked the tree, so she's got it. For those of you who worry about me giving trees to only my grandson, that's not true. I give it to both. I treat both my grandson and my granddaughter equally. That is really an example. I pass on my trees to my grandchildren as a legacy, so they remember me. And when they see the tree year after year, day after day in and day out, they will remember me each time they water the plant. So I think bonsai is really a wonderful gift, and it could be your legacy, your heirloom. One last tree that I really like, it's almost memorable. I went to Taiwan to visit, and the vice president of eatery, he was busy, so he had his wife and a chauffeur drove us around to look at bonsai in Taiwan, near Hsinchu. And there is a district where they grow flowers and trees for sale, a nursery. So we went to visit a nursery, and I saw this humongous salcova. That's a piece of a tree dug out from the mountain. And the guy really didn't want to sell it to me, but the fact that she's a notable lady and said to him, he's a good man from America, please sell it to him. So I got the tree. We washed out the roots, and I put it in a black garbage bag, plastic garbage bag, and ship it on the plane back. And I carry it out of the plane, so to speak, the checkout area, and went through the customs. And the man looked at it and he said, there's a couple of snails on it. I should have never let you go. But I'm a bonsai man too. I know you love this tree, so I'm going to let you go. But go take care of your snails. So I feel very lucky to get the tree. So that is truly one of a kind. And the thing about the salcova from Taiwan, which is a Chinese variety, not the Japanese salcova, is the leaves can become really tiny. And it's a very favorite tree in China for bonsai. The next question is, how do I keep the trunk thick and create a tapered? The problem with the tree is that when it grows like that, it's usually very straight and then a few branches coming out. And when the branches coming out, it creates a little taper, reduce the thickness of the trunk the next level up. And so what you do is that when you get a tree, I said it many times, is that what you do is that you cut it off to maybe 50 to 75% the height of the final tree you want it to be. And then when you cut it, the lower branch will grow out long. And what you can do is that you can twist them up to create a so-called sacrificial branch. You cut that off eventually, but in the meantime, it will fatten up the side of the trunk, the branch, to thicken it. So the bottom will be thicker than the top, and the taper will be created very naturally. And if you want to make the trees turn, you can dig it up and plant it to the side, take one of the side branches to make it the apex, so then you will have nice turns as well. Naturally, actually, it would look very natural. The next one is, what should a pad look like? Well, look at a bonsai book. You can see generally a tree shape is like this. It's a straight, whatever the shape of the branch is, the trunk is. And then it will grow side branches. And generally, you keep the shape, the length of the branches to be a triangle, irregular triangle, so that it's not like symmetrical, looks not as artistic. And then to create some of the old bonsai, the foliage is so full that the triangle is in fact just a lump of green. I don't think that's very pretty. I rather like to see the branches, look at the branches, and so I'll show the trunk. And then the branch coming out will have patches of leaves, and these are what I call the pads. And to create the overall impression of the irregular triangle, asymmetric triangle. So that's the process. When should I put my sapling outside? And also the question about wintering. Saplings don't die outside. A seedling does not die outside because of winter. That's how trees grow. They all started from a seedling. So the reason why trees die after you dig it up is because the root ball freezes over and the damages the root, and therefore the tree dies. So I advocate not to dig them up in the fall, but let them winterize first. In the future, if you want to put your bonsai, that's a different question. It's about winterizing, and that's very easy. Wintertime, you can put it in a garage with a little bit of exposure, or you can just bury it under the ground with compost or with soil, so that the root ball will not freeze over, and your tree should do just fine because the top can tolerate the cold. Okay, so to answer your question, I would not dig up your sapling outside and put it in a garage. I'd rather let it grow in the spring and then dig it up when the leaves start to come out. So the question is that I mentioned one time, one of the things you can do is, say, if you put a tree in a bonsai pot too early, it's not very thick. You can put it back in the ground, let it grow. And the question is, should I cut the apex so that it will maintain its height? No, you're not necessarily. Yes and no. You can cut it and to maintain the height, and it will grow. It will slow down some. But you can also let it grow. The apex can be quite tall before you cut it back. I think you will probably get a thickening of the trunk a little bit faster. Do you trim off the branches and the leaves when you do cuttings? And the answer is yes. And the reason is very simple. Think of it this way. When you have a cutting, there's not much water being absorbed into there's no roots. So the absorption is only through the bark, which is not very much. So if you have a lot of greens, a branch and leaves up on top, then they will not get enough water and they will dry out. And if all of them dry out, there will be no leaf, and therefore the cutting will never take. So you always cut off part of the leaves. Usually for cutting, you cut off all the branches, but leave a little stub so they will shoot out for your design. But the top you cut off one half of the leaves, couple of leaves, and that need to, photolysis to feed the roots to eventually, in a sense, force the roots to grow. How long have you been using sandy loam soil, and how best material to use it? How do I use my sandy loam? The word sandy loam is sand and loam. Loam is basically very fine powder deposit from the silt or whatever else, the organic material watered down with water, and then the sand. The silt, the loam can be quite gummy in a sense that can contain quite a bit of amount of clay. You have to balance between sand and loam to get the right sandy loam for the right drainage and absorption or water absorption. I'm very fortunate to have this piece of agricultural land, which is a very rich sandy loam from a creek that floods in the wintertime sometimes, and that deposits the silt and to become the loam. So my soil is high concentration loam, which also means fairly poor drainage. Although in the ground, the plants grow wonderfully. But when I put them in the pots, like into a bonsai pot, I use 1 part of my sandy loam, and I add 1 part of peat moss or coconut coir and 1 part of perlite to increase the porosity for the air. And they grow extremely well. And so I've been doing that for a couple, 3 years now. All my trees are doing really well. So I'm really fortunate at the piece of land, and the loam, I will be using the same loam for the pot of bonsai we sell. I have couple of fairly large procumbens that I bought from a nursery. How should I style it? A lot of branches, a lot of growth. Well, lucky you to find them. Generally, they are sold in 5-gallon cans, not very thick trunk, because they look very nice and green. But if you look at the cuttings, there are little bumps on the branch, so they're very easy cuttings. You put them in a lot of moist soil or potting soil for rooting, they will root very quickly. So remove enough redundant long branches to see where you're going with it, and cut back drastically to capitalize on the bottom, the shape, and then build on top of it. They grow back fairly quickly. So again, begin with a vision, cut back drastically to the trunk and whatever else that you want to use for design, and eliminate what you don't want to use. And one way to eliminate it, instead of cutting off close to the main trunk, is to leave a little stub. That's fine, and peel the bark. They could give you nice gin possibility. People ask me, what is gin? Well, that just means dead branches. That's part of your design. Well, that is all for today's video. I enjoy sharing with you what I know, what I learned in the last 50 years by trial and error, proven methods. I hope you like it. I'm not going to tell you anything I haven't tried. If I tell you something I haven't tried, I'll tell you so that the information you get from me truly works. Please tell a friend, click like if you like what I said, if you find it useful, to give me some encouragement and brownie points. And subscribe to our channel. And again, please send us your contact information, because we'll be soon sending you announcement for availability of trees. Well, I thank you very much. I see you next week.